One, two. Oh, sorry, I didn't have a. It happens. My PC uh, was at repairs, and it came back, of course. And I usually when you do that, there's something strange happening in OBS. It doesn't remember the last connected microphone, but I did it now. Welcome to the stream, everyone. It's been a while. Sorry for the delay. Today I have a surprise for you. We will not play Final Fantasy. We will play Tyranny. Tyranny is a role-playing game made by Obsidian and Paradox Interactive, which means it has to be good because those companies always make good games. I literally don't know anything about this game since I accept that I want to play it very much, and I will make a blind through about I will try to reach the end for several days. We will take a little break from Final Fantasy until we finished Tyranny. It's a role-playing game, and I hope you like it. So, without any further ado, we will start a new game. Okay, this is story mode. Difficulty setting requires minimal micromanagement and easily forgives mistakes in combat. Enemies receive a penalty to most stats. Companion combat AI is enabled by default, and party members do not receive wounds until they are knocked out. This expert mode disables a number of helper features in the game. Players who want to rely on their own faculties and intuition while playing the game should play expert mode. This option is selected when you start a new game. It cannot be enabled in game, and if disabled cannot be re-enabled. Trial of Iron. If Trial of Iron is enabled, only one save slot is permitted. Yes, this is Iron Main. If your party is defeated, the game ends. Your save is lost and you must start again. Recommended only for those who seek a greater challenge. This can only be modified. Okay. The normal difficulty requires strategy and efficiency, but forgives a few mistakes in combat. Companion combat AI is enabled by default. The hard difficulty is suited for veteran players of isometric RPGs, such as Pillars of Eternity, who are looking for a challenge. Survival requires micromanagement and optimization of stats through items and spells and abilities. Enemy AI is more efficient and uses abilities more frequently. The path of the damned difficulty, enemies receive a bonus to most stats, have the most efficient AI, and will very frequently use abilities. Party members take more wounds during combat and when being knocked out. This difficulty level can only be chosen when starting a new game. Okay, we will start at normal. Because I'm a wimp. And we'll see from there. We will not turn this expert mode in Trial of Iron. For now. Probably maybe for the next game.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spymaster and archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tunon brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
Okay. So we are the bad guys, basically. Of course, I will be male, body type. I don't know. Something like this. In the Northern Empire, where you were born, men enjoy equal protections under the laws of the Overlord Kairos. In the southern lands of the tiers, only men may own or captain ships. Real estate is restricted to women. Men may lease, but durable ownership of the land in the tiers always passes to eldest daughters or sisters. Most sons enter their father's profession by their mid-teens. Those without a profession or family lands to work can find purpose by pledging service to one of the Overlord's mighty archons. Criminals, derelicts, and others are often conscripted into the armies of the archons. If a child cannot forge his own skein, he will certainly find one in battle. Okay. Facing hair color, face color. This hair. This because I myself am bald. Probably this, yes. Hair color. This. Tattoos. Okay. Portrait. I guess I will be mage or something, so no. This one, okay. How did you join Kairos' army? Pit fighter. Not wishing to pay to feed and house too. The madam that purchased your mother sold you to proving grounds. The Northern Empire's bloodiest, most notorious fighting arena. Given only enough training to assure the show isn't over too soon. Your natural prowess and survival instinct led you to one victory after another. There was no elegant swordplay, no formalized duels, just brutal melee and the stench of blood, shit, and bronze with each day. It He said that any fighter that slays a dozen others in the Grand Melee is given her freedom. But in 300 years, only three warriors have ever walked away from the proving grounds. When the closing horn sounded and 13 corpses lay about your feet, you became the fourth to be granted freedom and thunderous applause. This autonomy was short-lived. Within days, word of your accomplishment made its way to the Archon of Justice, a soldier, lawbreaker, unable to settle the year's accounts with Grain. Your parents offered you as a tithe to the Overlord instead. Seeing your first battles as a child, you've known all your life how to fight, how to stay calm at the sight of blood and disembowelment, and how to rely on your fellow warriors. Deemed smarter than the average killer, you were groomed for command and given an education in letters and numbers. With rumors of war, it seemed recruitment into the disfavored region would be the obvious match for your skills, but the Archon of Justice is known to say that good iron is not used for swords, and good minds are not used for soldiers. Claimed by Tunon, you were instead drafted into the Court of Fate Binders, where your martial skills were put to use in the enforcement of Kairos' laws. Hunter, when the leader of your home village spoke out of turn one time too many, agents of the Overlord put the whole town to the torch, containing the spread of insubordination. The bounding Viper tribe came across the smoking ruins of your village, and when the beast's matriarch found you frozen but unafraid, the mighty leader took you in and raised you to the protection of her tribe. For years you lived with these wild beasts in their migratory homes throughout the mountains, but the bounding vipers were a dying breed. Each long winter took a greater toll than the last, and once the dwindling tribe was too weak to defend its lands, his favored soldiers came to dispense of the ravenous scavengers your tribe had become. Finding a human amongst the wild tribe, his favored soldiers made a point of taking you alive. News of the wild child of the north eventually spread to the Archon of Justice, and he ordered you released from captivity and delivered to his court. Lawbreaker, accused of a crime you most certainly did commit, you stood before Tunon, the adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and argued your case with eloquence and conviction. Impressed by your logic, reason, and confidence, found you guilty anyway. It is rumored that Tunon selects many of his agents from his prisoners, who better to catch the wicked than those versed in such ways. In his mercy, Tunon offered you the choice of two sentences: decades languishing in prison, or a lifetime serving him in the court of fate binders. The choice was an easy one, and instead of seeing the inside of a cell, you were trained in letters and numbers, magic and war. The laws you once broke are now yours to interpret and enforce. Guild Apprentice, deeply proud of your intelligence. Your parents always knew you were too smart for a life spent with your hands in the soil. Yes, I like the sound of that. Looking to secure a better future, your parents struck a bargain with the Seven Tree Guild, a small magical order willing to teach you letters, numbers, and magic if you prove capable. For several years, he learned much from the mages, mastering reading and writing faster than the rest, and eventually learned the basics of mystic theory and spellcraft. Your magical studies came to an abrupt halt when the voices of Nera, Tarchon of Secrets, deemed the guild this time distraction that must be disbanded for the upcoming war. Its mages assigned to proper armies. While your peers went on to other guilds, your mind was seen as too valuable to be wasted on the armies. Instead, your life was claimed by two known Archon of Justice. War Mage. You have the combination of wits and courage to be accomplished casters and warriors, and those cursed with such a combination of talents are invariably pulled from their mundane lives and assigned to the armies of the Archons. Your earliest memories are a painful slog of training, study, lectures, and lecturing exhaustion, all the elements of being groomed for battle. You knew better than to ask what became of your family, nor to question the missives allegedly penned by their hand that were part of your earliest lessons in reading. When you reached adulthood, Tunon the educator came to the barracks and laid claim to your life, seeing you as too valuable for the crucible of battle. The Archon of Justice deemed your life better spent dedicated to the art of punitive legal remedies. Though you had much to learn in matters of civil discord, none could deny your bright future as Tunon's next great enforcer. Noble Scion. Born to noble parents, you were groomed for leadership. Your youth spent on letters, history, rhetoric, and other matters of culture and statecraft. Though you had wealth and creature comforts, you were expected to grow up quickly and bear the honor of shepherding others to prosperity and war. When your parents came under accusation of sedition, you were sent to the court of Tunon, Archon of Justice, to defend your family's actions. Your parents were found guilty. They are sentenced the dissolution of the treasonous estate, eloquently pleading your own ignorance on your family's actions. You negotiated your most important deal yet, immunity from the crimes of your family for the simple cost of swearing fealty to the Archon himself. Despite the unwilling induction, your education and savvy made you valuable addition to the Archon's cadre of enforcers. And so long as you remain in good standing, your family just might be allowed to live. Though diplomat, though they would never tell you why, Kairos bestowed great wealth upon your family for some unmentioned service, and your parents used this wealth to have you raised far from home. Your childhood was a nomadic tour of Terratus with hired tutors and fleeting friendships, where others had stability and routine, had a worldly and varied education. A careless word in a far-flung city landed you in legal trouble, and you were taken before Tunon the educator and made to stand trial. Not only did you plead your innocence, but you turned the accusations around on the accuser for wasting the court's time, and the Archon of Justice concurred. Amused by your wit, wisdom, and adaptability, Tunon claimed you as his newest enforcer. Probably guild apprentice, because I will be mage. So I will. It sounds closest to mage. Primary expertise. You were trained in the following combat style: sword and shield. Wielding a weapon and shield puts you in the front line of combat, standing between enemies and your allies. Holding a shield will slow down your attack rate slightly, but give you good defensive bonuses. Arcade Javelin. Wielding a javelin is a good compromise between melee and ranged. Thrown weapons deal more damage than bows, but cannot attack from as far away. They also have the benefit of being able to switch between both, sorry, ranged and melee attacks depending. Okay. Now, shock spells, frost spells, vigor spells, atrophy spells. Shock spells. Mage is skilled in shock magic can frequently interrupt their enemies, preventing them from executing their attacks. Charged fist. Damage. Shock versus endurance. Recovery 1 second. Damage. Infinite strong. Attack skill control lightning delivery. Cross spells. Is a utility branch of magic that focuses on granting bonuses to yourself and your allies. Atrophy spells. Atrophy magic drains the skills and attributes of your enemies, weakening their attacks and can debuffing. I'm gonna go with shock spells. Next, secondary expertise. You also receive training in these combat styles. Shock spells and frost spells. I'm gonna be pure short bow. Short bow is the weapon of choice for those who choose to attack from a distance. Okay. Using the hard shock. Hobble. Lay your aim and focus on hitting. Okay, I will choose hard shot. So bow and shock spells. Character colors. Red, 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 red. Banner customization. This one. Their name. Skilled guy. Next. Attributes. Oh my god. How should I know? Why determines the physical strength of the characters. It might lead to more powerful attacks and stronger abilities. The endurance defense. This attribute describes the character's physical and mental precision. Finesse is used to determine accuracy of attacks and spells, as well as increasing core armor's chances to reduce the hit type. Okay, quickness. How often a character can use their abilities and spells in combat to reduce cooldown damage. Vitality determines character's physical health. It also increases the will defense. Ignorance describes a character's mental acuity, their ability to observe their environmental and pick up on clues, which is used to increase spell strength as well as increase the magic defense. Resolve determines the character's ability to endure physical and mental challenges. Resolve is the primary attribute used to derive endurance, will, and magic defenses. It also increases the range of restrictions applied by. Okay, I have 8 points. I will put like this 14 wits and 14 finesse. Let's go. Skills. Oh my god. Let's see the support skills. Dodge, the dodge skill defense against ranged attacks from bows, javelins, and magic missiles. Higher skill ranks usually deal damage quickly, causing enemies to miss their attack altogether. 5 points into miss. Lore skill determines a character's ability to decipher information and put together clues from fragments of information. This skill is critical for magic users who wish to learn new runes to power their spells. Lore is also used in dialogue to determine what you know about the history of the world or to impress others. I am fairly high in lore. Subterfuge. Subterfuge skill determines a character's ability to move unseen through their environment, to detect and manipulate hidden traps and devices, and to open locked chests and doors. It's also used in dialogue to determine the character's subterfuge. Let's go up. Determines character's ability to traverse difficult terrain, as well as their ability to execute complicated moves in combat. Athletics ability used in dialogue to determine parry. Defense against melee attacks and spells. Higher skill ranks will reduce damage from miss altogether, although parry also. Bows. 13. Determines effectiveness of attacks using magical stuff. Higher skill attacks increasing the chance of missing. 5 points. Let's go with auto like this. How do you want to continue? Selecting the conquest options will allow you to play through Kairos' conquest tiers, choosing how your characters evolve to Asia. This gives you the most control over the starting state of the game, how other factions will react to your characters. Selecting the quick start option will bypass the conquest phase. Oh, we don't want to bypass anything. Let me just go to the bathroom. Be right back. Okay, let's go to conquest. Next. We're starting.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior. In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Sounds like Bulgaria's medieval history. During the conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the Tiers, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your characters and how major factions of the Tiers respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. Year 1 of Kairos. The bastard city stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. The Tiers, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' armies. Taking this city would send a message to the rest of the Tiers. Kairos' will is unsurmountable. Select token on the map to begin. Infiltrate the Tiers. Both armies send their forces to prepare the way. Gates of Judgment in the first major engagement of the war, Kairos' armies cross the mountains and establish foothold. History would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of the conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavor and the Scarlet Chorus each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? You lent your skills to the elite Disfavored scouts to capture a border garrison. Graven Ashe insisted that an early victory in the offensive would boost the morale of his troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. The oath-bound scouts identified a modest border defense and collaborated on an organized attack that would leave the enemy uncoordinated and cut off from aid. You oversaw the preparations and offered your opinions on the strategy. When the clashing of swords and spears fell to silence, followed by the cheering of disfavored scouts, you were the least surprised. Inside the agent, you found an ally within the city to prepare the way for the approaching armies. Containing the fire, the bastard city's resident fire mages threatened the first leg of the conquest. Kairos' forces put a stop to their unchecked power. Your fiercest opponents in the Bastard City were the mages of the School of the Wild Wrath. The barbaric used their power responsibly. The unbridled practitioners needed to be stopped. How did you trick the hot-tempered mages into their own undoing? Lure them into disfavored ambush. You lured the hot-headed mages to an ambush where a legion of disfavored waited to spring the trap. The soldiers were hungry for a chance to subdue the arcane branch of Tyr's resistance. The mages took their more dangerous research outside of the Bastard City walls. You sent a scout to sabotage a delicate ritual which caused an explosion that injured or killed many senior practitioners. Enraged, the survivors expanded themselves on a chase through the surrounding hills, where the disfavored surrounded them and brought them to heel. The few that survived the attack were conscripted by the Scarlet Chorus. Oh my god, are you going to be mad at me? I just decided to play a little different game. This is a game called Tyranny. It's a it's a role playing game, and the premise is that we are the bad guys. We have to conquer the world. Hence the name of the game, Tyranny. We are the tyrants. So I just started, and I'm kind of shaping the world by making role playing choices at the beginning. Betrayal of the Bastard City. The premise is that yes, something like that. Yes. The premise is that we have pretty much conquered all the world, and only one region remains. So we have to go there and conquer it as well. Your tactics of infiltration placed you in the Bastard City ahead of the main armies. Your work softened the city defenses for the arrival of Kairos' forces. But you wanted a decisive gesture that would give your allies a meaningful advantage. How did you assist in the fall of the Bastard City? Betrayal of the Bastard City. Spread fear through assassination. Oh my god. Okay. Incite a riot. Duel the city marshal. Ooh, I will duel the city marshal. You challenge the commander of the Bastard City's defenses to an honorable fight to the death. The disfavored wished to spare soldier lives for the battles ahead and civilian lives for occupation. Abilities: Warrior's Respite. Stand your ground in the face of defeat. During this time, you will regenerate health rapidly. Okay. The city marshal was an old but experienced fighter, and his value to the guard was an accepted truth. After making guarantees for your protection, you met him in the square of the market district and fought in the view of tens onlookers. The battle drew on longer than you thought possible. Good fortune struck when an ornamental chain hanging from the marshal's armor snagged the quillon of his sword, granting you the opportunity to end his life swiftly. Kairos' forces celebrated your return to camp and the dissolution of enemy morale. All agreed that the bastard city was poised to crumble. Okay. The bastard city settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos' banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Letian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. You may choose only one of these locations. Okay, which one I choose? Letian's Crossing as a judge and overseer, or Apex as a soldier? Deposits of iron made the settlement of Letian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kairos sent the forge-bound smith mages of exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Unon, the adjudicator, sent one of his Fatebinders to ensure the enforcement of Kairos' law. The troops of the mountain realm of Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding their time as their neighbors in the bastard year fell. In the second year of war, a joint force of the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountain to take control of the Tyr's central valley. I kind of want to be a judge, so I will go to Letian's Crossing. Year 2 of Kairos' conquest. Years ago, Letian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and a mercenary company meant that caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. Letian's Crossing drew Kairos' attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the Legion under Kairos' control, the Northern Smith mages would set up workshops to refine ore and arm the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Archon of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Dunon dispatched you to travel alongside Kairos' forces and bring order to the region. Okay. The iron must flow. You found a clever solution to improve production of iron, weapons and armor. The cult of Syrian, the Archon of Song's power, ensnared the mind of a disfavored soldier. Okay. Kairos' Smith mages worked day and night to create weapons. No one faulted their dedication, yet production was slow. The plans that came to light proved divisive to the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus. On one hand, any additional manpower was needed for fighters, not forges. On the other hand, the celebrated weaponry of Kairos' armies needed to be fiercely guarded. Draw from the Scarlet Chorus recruits. The Scarlet Chorus took refugees from the recent influx and forced them to serve in Kairos' military. You repurposed these individuals to haul wagons of iron for the Smith mages. This proved an inconvenience to the Scarlet Chorus, who relied on their force of numbers to be effective in the field. The population of Lythian's Crossing had swelled from the emptying of lands destroyed by Kairos' armies. Although the Scarlet Chorus fought to keep the refugees under their control, the need for production could not wait. The new recruits were reassigned to haul iron ore from treacherous mine shafts, labor more befitting slaves than Kairos' artisans. Though the disfavored grew stronger with the advantage of more weapons, the Scarlet Chorus diminished as their ranks found themselves with one less opportunity for growth. That was probably a mistake I made. Tensions rose as disfavored and Scarlet Chorus soldiers rubbed elbows with mercenaries hired to guard the forges. As the forges improved production, both armies demanded preferential treatment. Okay. Since you aided the production of weapons, commanders of both armies lobbied for additional arms. They offered all manner of bribes to be next in line for a fitting session with the masters of the forge. How did you say the lust for iron? Choose the Scarlet. You gave iron arms to the Scarlet Chorus commanders, knowing they pay very well for any killing tool. Weaponry of such a claim was typically reserved for the highest disfavored officers, but you were open to changing tradition under the circumstances. You allowed no changes to the orderly dispensation of iron and punished those who tried to bribe you twice. Twice! Using language that left nothing open to interpretation, you left both of the commanders know that bribery would not be tolerated in Kairos' military. That did not stop either of them from seeking you out again, making promises of wealth and advancement if you showed special favor. Deciding that enough was enough, you ordered both of the commanders flogged in view of their armies, letting pain and humiliation teach them where reason had failed. Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the voices of Nerat injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. Junon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kairos' more responsible servants. Only a token garrison could be left behind while the armies returned to the front. As the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increasing tensions and hostility towards each other, Junon decreed at best that only one force controlled the crossing. He granted control of Lythian's Crossing to the Scarlet Chorus. Scarlet Chorus flooded Lythian's Crossing with overeager and undisciplined recruits. In the first few days of occupation, settlers suffered under rampant theft, murder, rape, and arson. Oh my god! By the following week, the horsemen who sowed chaos for personal gain were dead, strung up by the more disciplined half that took up the reins of the self-appointed bosses of Lythian's Crossing. The forge-bound continued to mint iron weapons and armor, which Kairos' merchants carted to the disfavored garrisons elsewhere in the tiers. Shipments were light or sometimes absent. The Scarlet Chorus quartermaster claimed ignorance of the matter. With the mercenaries expelled and the Lithians crossing under new leadership, Kairos' forces congratulated themselves on bringing order to the settlement and guaranteeing a productive flow of resources. Over the course of the diversion, the army front advanced further into the tiers. Your skills were needed in the realm of Azure, Stalwart, or the Velum Citadel. Stalwart or Azure or Velum Citadel. With its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the tiers. Kairos dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Kairos' conquering gaze fell upon the Velum Citadel, its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. Okay, let's go to Stalwart. Its military tradition. The realm of Stalwart was best known for its proud army, disciplined, courageous, and undefeated on their home soil. Skill and resolve made Stalwart a military power that Kairos' forces approached with due caution. With its southern position, Stalwart had been largely safe from war, watching for 2 years as its neighbors fell to Kairos' forces. On the dawn of the third year of war, Kairos' forces were finally poised to invade the Stalwart Peninsula and subdue the tier's most vaunted army. A contentious setback, a stinging defeat led to accusations among Kairos' armies. Tragedy struck when hungry Scarlet Chorus soldiers appropriated disfavored supplies. Okay, let's see the. After a defeat at the hands of enemy defenders, the Scarlet Chorus accused the disfavored of recklessness. The disfavored claimed the Scarlet Chorus brought too few soldiers to cover their flanks. Both armies refused to march until you gave a ruling. Honor the disfavored's reputation. Knowing the disfavored's reputation for discipline, as well as the Scarlet Chorus' powers to instill fear and frenzy, you decided that the Scarlet Chorus was in the wrong. The Scarlet Chorus were nonplussed to receive some censure, but aghast that the disfavored would not share in the blame, soldiers hurled venomous accusations your way, challenging your impartiality and wondering where justice could be found, if not in Tunon's fate binder. They argued that reputation should have no bearing on law. When an enemy commander fell captive, Kairos' armies argued over what to do with her. Suspicions arose when Scarlet Chorus soldiers fought in under the banner of Stalwart. Okay, let's see what we will do with the enemy commander. The armies of Kairos collaborated on the capture of an enemy leader. The Scarlet Chorus requested that she be interrogated by the Archon of Secrets. The disfavored wished to display her corpse in battle. Since the Stalwart defenders refused to surrender, a gesture was needed to instill fear. Interrogate her. Execute her. Hmm. I'm kinda. No, I won't execute her. I will interrogate her. You order that the enemy commander be sent to the Voices of Nerat for interrogation. Like so many enemy prisoners, the stalwart regent vanished inside the Voices of Nerat's tent, never to be seen again. Her screams were the only evidence that she had ever passed through camp, and those went on beyond what most considered possible. When at last she fell silent, the voices invited you inside. There was no region to be found, only a map which the voices had marked with hasty scrawls, marking supposed weaknesses in the enemy defense. The disfavored carved a slow, steady path into the heart of Stalwart and surrounded the enemy's massive fortress. With the main bulk of their forces defeated, the enemy leadership retreated to their mighty fortress, content to wait out the war. The Overlord answered this impudence with an edict of storms on the peninsula, a devastating spell that would endure for as long as the cowardly hearts of the stalwart's leaders persisted in beating. Pleased by your efforts, Gunon deemed you the proper representative to deliver Kairos' edict. Aside from being given a 3-day window to read the edict, you received no other instructions. Kairos' most powerful magic is that of the edict, commandments cast upon whole regions that can control and destroy man and nature alike. Once cast, an edict can rain fire, wither crops, demoralize cities, usher in endless night, or do whatever it is that Kairos envisioned. No known force, magical or mundane, can stop an edict. Give no warning, warn the people. In an attempt to ingratiate themselves with the people of Stalwart, the Scarlet Chorus insisted that warning be sent to the towns and villages so that the people may prepare for the horror about to descend on them. Kairos' wrath was intended for the cowardly regions of Stalwart, not those unfortunates swept up in the calamity of their leadership. A warning in advance of the spell would give locals time to prepare for the devastation to come. You were content to let punishment fall on the innocent as lightly as Kairos' will allows. Comforted that you might yet spare lives, you broke the seal of Kairos' edict on storms and read the Overlord incantation. The clear skies darkened as you read the final words of the edict. A flurry of wind and rain whipped through the rolling plains and craggy canyons, turning rocks, unrooted trees, and hapless soldiers into hazardous shrapnel. Armed with a measure of foresight, you were able to remove yourself from the area before the storms grew more violent. Over time, nearby communities told of cyclones consisting of thousands of soldiers' worth of limbs, spears, armor, and skulls. What's more, the weather showed no sign of dissipating. Several units of disfavored who fought the enemy in spite of the advancing storm were caught up in the Overlord's magic. The few survivors regrouped and nursed their wounds. Their failure to topple the stalwart's legion shamed them into believing the dead more fortunate. The name Stalwart fell from use. People took to calling it the Blade Grave, for the remade landscape festooned with the iron and bronze armaments of two once great legions. As Kairos' forces departed, you spared a glance back at the ruins of Stalwart, marveling at your work. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You have reached the end of Kairos' conquest. Do you want to continue or erase your progress and start over? Continue.
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers.
Well, we basically conquered the whole thing during the introduction, and now we are going to mop up the stragglers or something.
The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons.
Well, he's the main bad guy, so and he's my master, so cut him some slack, please.
As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Fatebinder, unskilled guy, I presume. I've been expecting you. Okay, finally we can play. If this is your first visit to the world of Tyranny, watch for these windows to help you become familiar with the game. You can disable tutorial messages at any time from the game options menu. Okay. Yes, I can go. I can zoom out. Oh, this is nice. Okay, be right back.
Sorry, I can't.
Okay, let's talk to this guy. This is thrust. Single target attack that carries elements. Charged fist. Okay. Kairos the Overlord. Thank you. Yeah. Kairos the Overlord be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. The disfavored warrior claps her gauntlet to her breastplate, the traditional salute of her region. Conversations involve you, another character, and sometimes additional parties like bystanders or companions who may interject. Choices you make change how the story develops and will build a reputation for your character over time. People in the world will learn of your reputations, good and bad, and respond accordingly. Your character's attributes, skills, history, and gender, as well as decisions you made in the conquest, may all open up options for you in dialogue. Okay, then these options are not necessarily superior to the others. Okay, options, yes. Each character who speaks to you will display a banner beneath their portrait. These banners indicate which faction the character is allied with. Okay, the tooltip provides details about how the faction feels about you. Favor 41%. Okay. You will often see the names of important characters and locations displayed in a gold text color. Tooltips on these glossary entries provide you okay. A pleasure to see you again, Fate Bander. You were with us since before the first official days of the conquest, and so it's fitting you're here now in what I hope is that last gasp of resistance from these backwards Gearsmen. Here's hoping you can convince the Archons to settle on a plan to crush the Outbreakers. That is why you're here, right? Glares silently. Glares silently. I am in a hurry to deliver a message to the Archons. I come in bearing edicts of Kairos. Our soldiers will complete their task or die. Lord 20. Can you hear that hum in the air? That glow around the rocks? The avalanche is Kairos' magic. The Overlord has sealed the valley. Your senses see more than mine, good Fate Bander. I do not pretend to know much about such things, but if that was Kairos' magic and you are here on important business, well, you don't have to be the Archons of Secrets to guess that you are here to proclaim an edict. What does Kairos have in store for the enemy? 10 years of festering plague? An edict of twisted bones? I'm in a hurry to deliver a message to the Archons. Their son is a cogberry. Okay, I'm in a hurry to deliver the message. Well, you've traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure the Archons will want to hear from you. Bet. Her voices fall silent, her attention snapping eastwards with alarm. Did you hear that? More runners. Third time this week. The Outbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from outside the valley. She points over to the collapsed path by which you arrived. But they are a bit too late for that now. Come, let's show these Outbreakers a good fight. Oh, we're gonna fight. Okay. Yep, the disfavored battle. Can I cast something? Okay, let's shoot.
Sorry, I can't.
Why can't you?
Will do.
Tyranny uses pausable real-time combat system. Because you will often manage more than one character at a time, it's a good idea to pause the game, issue orders, and resume real-time to see the orders play out. The options menu also contains many choices for automatic pausing. Okay. Your character can always perform basic attacks using their equipped weapon or their fists in fighting unarmed. Characters also have special abilities and spells they can use in combat. When a character is selected, their ability bar displays their hotkey abilities. As new abilities and spells are gained, they are automatically added to the ability bar. Okay. All of your character's abilities and spells can be accessed by selecting the category icon at the bottom of the selected frame. Abilities are grouped into talents, spells, combo abilities, artifacts, abilities, reputation abilities, and stances. Category icons for weapon sets including follow. Use an ability, left click on the ability icon or press the hotkey corresponding to its location. Okay. Abilities that target party members. Here press escape at any time to cancel targeting ability. All characters in the game, friend or foe, have the 5 primary defense against attacks: parry, dodge, endurance, will, and magic. These defenses are based on the character's attributes, equipped items, and other effects. The character's accuracy is based on their skill with the type of weapon they are wielding. Accuracy is compared to the appropriate defenses when an attack is made to determine how likely is that the attack will hit. There are 4 possible results from any attack: hit, critical hit, graze, and miss. A critical hit increases your damage, while a graze reduces it. With each attack, you gain experience in the weapon skill used to make the attack. Even a miss will grant some experience. Okay.
Will do.
Aha! I shoot with the bow now. That's one down. Let's check further along the path for more. There are 6 categories of talents available to your characters: leadership, defense, power, agility, range, and magic. With each level you gain 1 point to purchase a talent from any of these categories. Within a talent tree, each tier of talents unlocks based on how many talent points have been spent within that tree. Learn a talent, select its icon, and then save button to confirm your choice. Each companion has their own talent trees with unique abilities. These abilities unlock in the same manner as your character's talents. As you spend points within a companion's talent tree, further tiers of talents become available. Okay, this guy has whetstone and potion of protection. One take all. One of your skills has gone up a rank. As you use your skills in the game, they accumulate experience. When they gain enough experience, they will increase their skill rank. As skill ranks increase, your characters will gain experience towards the next level. Press C to open the character sheet and view your current skill experience. Aha! Bows and magic skills. Okay. Move your character, click anywhere, okay. Pause. View and manage your character's inventory attributes. Aha, leadership, defense, power, focus strike, pound strike, agility. Move faster in combat. Target your... Ah, I have 1 point to spend in range. Target your enemy's feet with ranged attack, hovering. Successful. Escape adds a rooting effect to the thrust. This now also increases movement, speed, and breaks. Poison dart, throw a poison dart and target receives poison infliction. Piercing throw. Requires 1 throw to spend. Aha, those are the number of points spent. I don't have power, okay. I will look at them when I level up. Okay. Most people you encounter in the world are neutral or friendly. You interact with them, many characters. Go on. Okay. In many conversations you will see words or phrases displayed in a green text color that will click on this provide you with information that your character knows about choices you made. Explain one another to being friendly or hostile to you. Okay. Interactive objects. Hold down the tab key to highlight interactive objects in the environment. Aha. Oh. Desiccated corpses. Oh my god, there are corpses. Ancient Weeping Mother statue face match. Queen. Fresh water once floating. Kairos. Forces attacked friend well. Statue again, but done so ever since. Oh my god! It's blood. A rock slide blocks the path ahead. You can squeeze through a narrow gap between the stones, or you can attempt to push one of the boulders out of your way. Oh, I don't have 30 athletics. Okay.
Heads up, we have company. Will do.
26.
Right.
building. Aha. Character recovery. All characters, friends or foe, must recover after every action they take in combat. Its recovery timer is displayed above each character in combat. The length of recovery time varies based on the character, the weapon they are wielding, the armor they have equipped. Okay. If you issue an action to a character, want to cancel it, you can press X. That character selected. Once an action has progressed far enough, it cannot be cancelled. Okay. Ouch, when a party member is reduced to 0 health, they are knocked out. It means they are out of the fight, but as long as you are victorious, they will regenerate their health when combat ends. Being knocked out applies a wound to the character, reducing their maximum health for future combats until they rest or level up. Aha, I see. You scored a crit. A crit is a better result than a hit, and they are more likely to occur when the attack's accuracy is higher than the target's defense. Attacks that deal damage will do more damage on a crit. Spells and abilities that heal or improve your allies will be better on a crit. Attacks that inflict you. Okay. One of your characters has been engaged in melee. When characters are engaged, they immediately stop moving. If they move away from the enemy engaging them, they will provoke a powerful disengagement attack. Your characters will also automatically engage enemies when they initiate attacks. When the selected character is engaged, the cursor will change to a red circle or 4 wedges. This indicates that moving the characters will provoke the attack from. Okay. Engagement is indicated by arrows drawn between the selection circles of enemies. To see who a character is engaging or is engaged by, mouse over their selection circle, display the engagement arrows.
Will do.
Okay. Can I talk to this guy? Let me just loot. Sun Soldier's Javelin. One-handed thrown weapons, quality common. Okay. Stoneshield, don't bother with me. Go down to pass Drastus. The soldier clutches his gut and winces. You can see a hint of entrails between his fingers. Oh god! You're wounded and it's not trivial. Laughs through clenched teeth. This but a scratch. I've seen twice as worse 10 times over. Doubles over in pain, gaggling and shivering. You let me help. I said I'm fine, the soldier moans and shakes his hand. Raven Ashe protects. You go and help the others. Okay. Walking Death will revive when defeated for It's Walking Dead, but it will revive when defeated for 120 seconds. Waking! Waking, yes, it's waking. Sorry. Ugh.
Fall before me! Try and catch me, worm.
A young Scarlet Fury weaves around the Vendrian Guard attackers, avoiding their weapons with fluid grace. She nods to acknowledge you. Scarlet Chorus. A breathless enemy soldier passes a glance to her countrymen. This one's crazy. Too much lead in her water. We should cut our losses and turn back.
Ha! Fate Finder. Here at last. Care to join me in putting these cowards out of their misery?
She nods to the armed soldiers bearing down there. Say something for me. Join the battle. Yeah, for the realm of Apex, charge. The Vendrial guards level their weapons and advance.
I see as the crow flies.
Blood soaks stone. Combo ability. Coordinate with verse to knock your target prone when follow up with a strong bleed attack. Okay. Next time. Okay.
Flawless.
Yeah.
Phew. I can tell you didn't spend the conquest in a diplomat's tent.
Can say that. The fighter surveys the fresh corpses and nods with satisfaction.
I'm Verse, by the way. But there are more important things to take care of than introductions. Those Vendrian guard we killed didn't come alone.
He gestures to the skirmish unfolding in the past. Join the battle. I'm ready when you are. Not so fast. First explain what you're doing here. Why are the Vendrian attacking you? Fight like a storm. What's your role in the army? You're dismissed. If I need you, I'll find you in the Scarlet Forest camp.
Eager. I like that. Before we go, you might search among the remains of our fallen comrades. Wherever they're bound, I doubt they'll miss their boots, much less any rings or any useful iron they might be clutching.
I see your point.
No reason
Nice
to pity the
practical.
fallen.
Yes,
Before
loot
long,
everything.
We might wish we'd joined them here. But at least we'll enjoy heavy pockets and warm toes. For the voices of Nerat!
Verse furrows her brow and focuses down on the battle to come. Consumables. One of your party members is low on health. Who? Stance seeking sheet plus 10. You can use a health potion to heal. Okay. One of your party members has been hit with. Okay. Let's loot. Scarlet Fury Helm. Lesser Healing Potion. Lesser Sigils Reaching Grasp. Hide. You've discovered a scroll that contains the image of a sigil of magic. If a member of your party has a high enough lore skill, you can learn this sigil and use it to craft spells. If you meet the lore requirement for this scroll, right-click on the scroll icon and then click on the Learn button at the bottom of the inspection interface. Okay. Ah, party stash. Okay, right. Lore 35. This scroll contains magical accent which slightly increases the range of a spell. Learn. Learn new spell. Sigil of Reaching Grasp. Okay. You've discovered a new sigil. Magic in the world of Tyranny comes from learning how to perfectly scribe sigils and empower them with energy. Open the spell interface by pressing P to create a new spell with the sigil you just learned. Ah, it's 4 meters. Wow, this is cool. This is 2 meter and this is remove. Okay. Why cannot assign it to number 2?
Will do.
I have to select them
Will
both.
do.
I guess, okay. Oh shit. Are these friendlies? Eyes forward, no look back. Avenging Guard Warriors roars with his faults held high, his words largely lost over the din of combat. Stand aside, or your funeral will be over the side of the bluff. Seeing you squarely in this path, the soldier points his weapon on your way. I applaud your bravery, but I implore you to end this foolishness and lay down your arms. There is no escape, and for oath breakers, no surrender. Then we'll settle this with bronze. The warrior points toward you, ordering his men to advance. These fools don't know when to stop. I like that. Charge! As he signals his men to charge, the sound of chanting rises from the south, drawing his attentions. Reinforcements! Hurry! Run down the old breakers. Let no one escape. From the red mob of the reinforcements from the south, a blue chanter emerges at the head of the rubble. The ornamental crest of her staff pulsing with crimson tones, signing sigils of magic and wordlessly moving her mouth. The blood chanter scribes a series of spells into the air. A red glow surrounds the Vendrian guard warriors as the chanter's magic worms its way into their midst, minds blinding them with rage. Hold position, all of you. You there, keep to the path. The warrior gestures along the canyon trail, but his soldiers turn their attention to the Scarlet Chorus, roaring challenges. No, don't engage them. We need to run. His orders falling on deaf ears, the warrior reluctantly readies his weapon.
Come at me, brave.
Ah, she can do burning iron. Okay, and I will shoot.
Did I always have...
Okay.
Alright, let's do this. Better not wake up dead.
Oh my god, she was knocked out.
Take that!
Okay. Come quick, we have a situation on the cliffside. No, I'm not going against the Overlord. I'm actually doing his will. I'm his servant. Yes, yes, yes. In this game, you are a bad guy. Is she wounded? Oh yeah. The companion Verse has joined your party. Verse is a capable warrior, skilled in both melee and ranged combat. As you acquire companions, you will need to balance their strengths against the strength of your characters to be successful in combat. While it is possible to adventure alone, you will find the game more rewarding with a well-balanced party. There are now 2 characters in your party and both are selected. Any commands you issue now will affect both party members. Selected single party members, yes, click on the selection circle and press. You can either control your companion directly or you can enable AI. Okay, let me click and which one is AI? Balance, combo abilities.
Will do.
The soldier's shield. Heavy guard also. Okay. So this is AI and she's basically turned on.
Hey, what did I tell you?
Discovered a new sigil. Magic is the world. Okay.
Right.
Ozma. Ah, she has a wound. Okay, let's see how we can unwound her. Agate. Veteran heavy guard bronze grease. Okay. What are you doing? You'll draw attention to me. Okay. Ah, there's a loot there. Okay. Get drop. Water. Okay. Weapons and armor are strewn haphazardly around the cart. Every blade shows signs of rust and every piece of armor is in wear. Several schools reached by the sun by carrying it are spiked roughly. Can we come here? No. Oh. I missed this guy. Weapons and armor are stuck. Okay. Karus ordered the original icon of the disfavor is erased from memory. For over 100 years the disfavor kept scratched out. Okay. Sky cap. stow your weapons, or we find out how long a man screams before hitting the ravine down below, cornered between the precipitous drop and a band of angry soldiers. The Oathbreaker warrior holds a disfavored officer at knife point. Skewer him. Worry not for me, Graven Ashe will protect the disfavored officer. Wheezes, blood seeping from the seams of his bracers and cuirass. You heard the man. Plainly invited you to use that little blade of yours. What are you waiting for? Permission from your pimp? His blade, with a jerk of the knife, he slices off a clump of Drustus' matted hair. If you're so eager to see your ally dead, just step closer. Release the prisoners and you might know the inside of a cell. Athletics requirement not met. We have to help Drustus. Hurt Drustus, let him die. We have to help Drustus. You have gained wrath with Scarlet Chorus. You have gained favor with disfavored. Harold dashes the blade across Drustus' throat. Blood gushes out from the commander's neck, throwing out his final words. Tyrell points the bloody knife toward you. Death to Kairos. Death to the Archons. The moment Drustus' body falls on the ground, the disfavored soldiers bounce forward, quickly reducing the Oathbreaker to a bloody mess. Drustus' death will be a setback. He was a fine steward of this steadfast. Aurora swallows. Her lips burst in anger. But with the losses we've sustained in this war, I'm the next in command. I will aspire to be half the leader Drustus was. One of the soldiers found some mage bladder on the Oathbreakers. Aurora holds up a rolled sheaf of parchment. I figured you being trained in letters could perhaps... Aurora looks at the papers, her face blushing, and quickly thrusts the sheaf toward you. Oh my god, they cannot read! Am I the only one who can read? Jesus Christ! What is this country? I guess soldiers are not required to read, the common soldiers, I mean. Examine the part of all that training and nobody taught you to read. I have no time for this. I should be on my way to see. Okay, examine. Repeating the same message in different written scripts, the parchment explains the Vadrian guards' desire to overthrow Kairos' Archons and rout their armies from the tiers. The pages aren't addressed to any specific reader, but rather openly invites all who remain loyal to the younger realms to gather at Vendrian's well. Recruitment material. They were trying to bring more traitors to the fight. Useless chronos. Okay. There were likely other groups trying to flee the valley, but we can rest knowing we stopped this group. A shame it's at such a high cost. The Archons are expecting you at the disfavored war camp. When you are ready to leave, exit by the southeast gate and keep going that way through the foothills. Was completed. Okay. Speak with verse. Couldn't help but notice how you were eyeballing the disfavored symbol littered about the camp. It's hardly a symbol, just a scroll. Actually, I have other questions. I'm done discussing this. That's true, but you used to be the pride of Graven Ashe's legion before Kairos made them deface it. What happened? Word has it that Ashe has been under more scrutiny than the other Archons, seeing as he took a stand against Kairos in the past. Even though he bent the knee in the end, that doesn't place him above suspicion. Kairos and the other Archons keep him on a tight leash. Ash's troops impressed the growing empire, but Kairos made them sacrifice everything. They were up to the point Ash surrendered. They've been disfavored ever since and fighting to earn back their honor. I guess that's why you don't cross the Overlord. Kairos holds a grudge with a mean, jealous streak. I've heard enough. I don't blame you. Compared to the Scarlet Chorus, the disfavored are about as interesting as hard labor.
Can't do that.
Is there? Climb the rope. 35 athletics. Oh my god. I should have raised athletics. Jesus Christ. I cannot go places without athletics. The prisoner is from the Tarkis clan. Then he's not just any Oathbreaker. He's one of their leaders. Aurora signals to her men by dragging her hand across her neck. No mercy for those who foment rebellion. Find a post and string him up. If his wounds don't kill him, thirst, starvation, and infection will do the rest. We must give the vanquished enemy a chance to serve. That is our law. Smiling with recognition at your presence, the chanter points your way. Ah, okay. Okay, Emily. I guess I'll see you. The Overlord. Aha, I see. Yeah, time flies. Thank you, you too. I tire of this nonsense. You keep recruiting these Oathbreakers, then you fail to inflict order and they defect, and we have to fight them all over again. I will not let another one of these South Nobs come back to haunt us. Well, I insist this Oathbreaker be taken to the voices of Nerat, leaving us at an impasse. Fortunately, we have a Fatebinder here to settle the matter for us. The chanter turns to you, an expectant smile creeping across her face. So, what say you? What should become of this prisoner? Execute the Oathbreaker. One chance to surrender is enough. The chorus should be allowed its chance to recruit new warriors. If that is how you wish it, the prisoner will go to the Scarlet Chorus, but mark my words, treating this curse with kindness has been and continues to be a mistake. If it will calm your nerves, I assure you this one won't be put on the battlefield. The mage snaps her fingers loudly, gesturing for her gang to listen. Make sure the prisoners is taken straight to the voices of Nerat. Aurora gives you a solemn nod. Until next time, Fatebinder. I know you have important business in the valley. No point in keeping you. She snaps to a salute. For the glory of Kairos. We sing the anthem of pain. Aurora. The Oathbreaker slays a disfavored commander and you show a lenient hand, a sad excuse of justice. Kairos be praised. Fatebinder, a pleasure to have you join us. We never really know if one of Tunal's officers is battle ready until the fighting breaks out. She nods with approval. You can clearly hold your own in a fight. A broad-shouldered, disfavored soldier snaps to salute. And thank Kairos for that. There's been too much talk of late and not enough action. The Archon of War is planning his next move. Would you have him hasten his plans for your impatience? Never, ma'am. Gravanashi protects. She holds her salute with a tightly clenched fist. I'm just eager to see the Vendrian Guard buried under their own patched defenses. Need something? As you were. 39 subterfuge.
Need to talk? I suppose I can give you a moment of my time. What do you need? If you insist. I'm a Scarlet Fury. That should raise some flags for you. It means that I'm good at killing, and more importantly, that I enjoy it. What I won't enjoy are the pleasures of funerary rites packed with weeping mourners. Someday I'll fall in battle, and then they'll roll me into a mass grave or heap me atop a shit-stained wagon. One more anonymous, knife-riddled piece of meat. Until then, I plan to take whatever I can from life and have a little fun along the way.
Life, what a life. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't expect exist before the chorus. There was some girl in a farm wearing my face and talking with my voice, but she wasn't me. Sometimes she would sneak out at night, take a sight, and have some fun with the livestock. Our shared interest began and ended there. When the Scarlet Chorus swept through my village,
Nós tocava-nos e sem isso disse Cristo embaraço.
изчезвайте! My mother ran a successful farm and I worked it for a number of years before I found the chorus. She was a hard, bitter woman, acted like the world owned her something. She never talked about my father, though I figured out a thing or two about him later on. He was a merchant from the Northern Empire who took a liking to her, and she him. He stayed around only long enough to get what he wanted. But never mind him, my mother never had what you call taste, so he couldn't have been terribly influential to me if he did stick around. Do you ever wish you could do things over and end up somewhere other than Kairos army? That's as naive a question as I've ever heard. Kairos is everywhere. If you aren't in the Overlord's army, you are being trampled by it. Of course, I could have labored on the family farm into my maturing years, married some dolt, and littered him a nursery of squealing piglets. Having my body torn to pieces by smaller versions of me sounds like fun. Then one day, when I decided enough was enough, I slit my husband's throat over breakfast and run off to join the chorus anyway. My way saved a lot of time. Verse smooths back the feathers of her hair and shakes her head with a smile. You're a killer. Better to stick with it. The chorus. At least you understand. The chorus praises and rewards the thing inside me that I would suppress in civilized company. Life is too short to repress every desire, right? Especially if I have anything to say about it. How did you get conscripted? How did I? I think you have the wrong idea about me. The chorus didn't take me as a sobbing maid. I strode into their camp and enlisted. Someone tossed me a dented blade. I lived through initiation, spent a week butchering my neighbors, and moved on with my new kin. I didn't waste time with goodbyes. My mother had long since died, and the rest of my family were louses. The girl I used to be, even she knew that she has worth more than all of them combined. What is the significance of your feathers? Oh, I don't tell that story to just anyone. You'll have to butter me up before I get into the really intimate details. Rose regards you with an unbearable expression. Her mismatched eyes look at each of yours in turn. I mean, does it even matter? You have to decide for yourself whether or not I'm worth trusting. Is keeping me along worth the risk that I'll spill the occasional word about what you ate for breakfast? The voices of Nerat is the Archon of secrets, not the Archon of honesty or fair dealings. If you don't assume that everyone already reports to him, you're not being careful enough. Tell me about your time in the Scarlet
The Scarlet
Forest.
Chorus is mostly for madmen and peasants with rusty daggers, but it's also a little niche of freedom that I never had. Once I survived training and met my Scarlet Fury sisters, I saw a different side of the Howling Mob. For new recruits shoved to the front lines, training means surviving the first battle. Anything beyond that is for the fighters who show potential, whether as blade dancers or arcane madmen. There's nothing in the world like getting put through the paces as a Scarlet Fury. Every day is a test of your commitment and passion. Failure means death. The first few weeks were the hardest, but also the most rewarding. I earned my name, picked up some quality weapons, and met my sisters. The elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus. Your typical Horde recruit fights with a rusty spoon and a chip on his shoulder, but the Scarlet Furies are, well, different. We focus our madness. We coordinate, we kill, we dance. It's like art. Imagine a sculpture that twisted in weird, beautiful angles, and then gutted you too fast for you to realize what was happening. It is, as I remind myself all the time, the most important day of my life was when the voices of Nerat recognized my potential and sent me to Scarlet Fury training.
If you think a simple farmer from the Tears would name her child Verse, I suggest you visit my old village. Most of them were walking around with surnames like Barrel or Fish. Not the most creative bunch. She smirks and shakes her head. Horus takes your name away. Whoever you were before, you aren't that person anymore. Then you earn back a name through great deeds, usually murderous ones. That's why you see horror men walking around with names like Stink Mouse or Face First. There's probably a good reason for it. The voices of Nerat gave me this name. When the Scarlet Chorus runs howling into battle, it doesn't hear war, it hears a symphony. And when I fight with blade or bow, it told me that my music stands out louder than anyone else and contains too many parts to be easily defined. When you least suspect it, the Archon of Secrets can be downright charming. That question isn't worthy of either of us, but you'll entertain it out of pity. You already know me by my real name. It's Verse. Are you looking for whatever arbitrary collection of letters and sounds my mother thought was appropriate when she didn't even know me? Then you're out of luck. I buried that name long ago, long by my standards anyway. When I was just a kid, it didn't take me long to realize I was a natural. I could pick up a rusty kitchen knife and skewer a rat from across the room. The Scarlet Chorus gave me opportunities to further educate myself. My sisters were always a bit surprised by how quickly I took to different fighting styles. She frowns for a moment and then shakes off whatever she wanted to say.
What do you need to know?
Before you hesitated when you brought up your fighting styles. Why? As if that's any of your business. If I wanted to say something, you would have heard it. Don't assume that I'm holding back. By my office of Fatebinder, you are beholden to deal with me honestly. That's as starchy and literal point as I've ever heard, but you're not wrong. Also, I like how you handled yourself there, throwing your authority around like it meant nothing. I mentioned before that I'm good at picking up different weapons and fighting techniques. The truth is, it's better than good. I could flay a man so cleanly that I'd leave a single strip of skin behind. He wouldn't even need to be tied down. That was one of the first things I discovered about myself after joining Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat recognized it in me as well, which is why he singled me out for Scarlet Fury training. My sisters were the masters of their fighting forms, but since they died, my style has changed almost like I can kill as they did. I could pick up a bow, a lance, anything really. I could tear someone to pieces with a weapon that I only watched my sisters use. I don't know what it could mean, and that worries me. Who are your sisters? Who are they would be more appropriate. Three whispers, red gazers, and seeking shit. Best fighters I ever met. There wasn't a foe we couldn't take down together. Our fighting styles complemented perfectly, so we divided up the killing work like bards, sharing a song. At least we used to. She presents a solemn salute. Tell me about the three whispers. She was as calm as the surface of a pond and light on her feet. More than one foe tripped and fell on their own blade due to Whisper's crafty footwork. First lets her gaze slip away from you as a fleeting moment of sorrow steals her attention. Tell me about Red Gazer, a one-woman siege breaker. She would launch herself at her foes like a battering ram. Not even a disfavored phalanx would have withstood that dumb suicidal wench Kairos' eyes, but she was something to behold. Tell me about seeking shit. That girl could pass a spear uh, through 12 rings from the far side of a battlefield. Kairos helped any foes who approached her marching single file. She made a game of spitting as many soldiers as possible on the same javelin. What happened to them? We were scouting around Vengeance well during the siege, back when we only suspected the guard of organizing in secret. My sisters and I came upon a group of them, or Kairos knows. Maybe they found us. No one said anything. We drew iron and bronze. That was when everything went wrong. I was supposed to take point and occupy the guard with a dance of blade work, something disorientating, while my sisters picked their marks. I hesitated. I lost my nerve. Instead of rushing the Oathbreakers, I froze with my weapon drawn. My sisters fought on without me, but they were off balance, like whatever I had was catching. They died. I lived. My sisters were relying on me to lead the dance, and I failed them. It's understandable. Caution stayed your hand. Your actions were inexcusable for a fighter of your station. Caution. Save your caution for the disfavored. If we showed caution, would we have taken the bastard city or the gates of judgment? Would we have conquered the tears with anything less than our blood boiling over with rage? Would we have conquered the tears with anything less than our blood boiling with rage, the song of battle ripping from our lungs? Hesitation is rot. It's unbecoming of many chorus members and unheard of in a Scarlet Fury. I would cut it from my body and cauterize the wound if only I knew its source. She grimaces once more and turns inward, contemplating. Any thoughts on the topic, or are we just here to open up on old wounds? Any idea why you lost the nerve in battle? I wish I had an explanation. For the first time I lost the dance. The song of murder drew silent. Instead, there was only rigid organized control.
What do you need to know?
Well, the voices of Nerat is the spider at the center of the web. He acts like the many. The army belongs to him, and he only lends it to Kairos because it suits his purposes, both of which are true. The rest are of all offshoots of the voices, like the fifth eye. Once you get down to the rank and file, the Scarlet Chorus organize around a motley bunch of gang bosses who call the shots. What do you want to know? Tell me about the voices of Nerat. He's a madman, but that never stopped me from following his orders. Even in a region as Even in a legion as cutthroat as the chorus, we know better than to get on the voice's bad side. People who cross him, or just people he meets, don't tend to survive the experience. If he ever seems disorganized or lost, it's because he's channeling one of the personalities he's devoured over the years. His mannerisms shift over to someone else, someone who's probably long since dead. Better to die than become part of the voices. What makes Voices of Nerat so powerful is the Archon of Secrets, and he didn't earn that title lightly. People say that he knows more than every sage in the tiers combined, and that he can think 1,000 steps ahead of the other Archons. It would be putting it lightly to say he's never alone under the that disapproving helmet of his. If you if you make secrets your business, I guess having people constantly whisper in your ear is a good thing. I usually want people to shut up, but to each their own. Tell me about the fifth eye. A walking nightmare, that one. I couldn't begin to guess who lives under that armor, and speak with that reedy voice. But I'll tell you what I know. When your world is built on secrets, it pays to have a few extra eyes. The voices of Nerat has eyes in abundance, some that he keeps close and others that he sends out in the wilderness. Whoever the fifth eye was before he came into the Archon service is just a half mad, jabbering speech to Hall, a bodily function, in other words, an eye. Wait, Nerat's eyes are people? Maybe they used to be people. Whatever they were, they are eyes now. Folks like to whisper that voices of Nera takes his servants and cuts out all the extra parts that they don't need. She make a quick snipping gesture with her fingers. I once heard the voices and the fifth eye in a tent together. The voices kept screaming redundancies. Every time another gout of blood would spray on the canvas walls. I can't even guess what he was cutting out. How many eyes does the Archons of Secrets have? The number keeps changing, either because it grows or because rumors don't mean shit. 3, 7, 19. Some even say that all of us are eyes and we don't even know it. She shakes her head in thoughtful disapproval. Back to my other questions. Tell me about the gang bosses. A boss is anyone who can rally enough support to kill the previous boss. They cling to command until someone gets wise and stabs them in the back. Gap leads the filthy lamps, Locks leads the rusted harps, Sharp used to lead the bone boys. Couldn't say couldn't say where he ended up after they broke his legs. Waterwheel orders around the hairy hunters, calls for shit leads the lazy Malkins, then Scurvy, Queen, Fingerfood, and Wild Gash collectively lead the ladies of perpetual strangulation. You led a gang? Don't act so surprised. I can crack a whip better than any of those daisies at the disfavored labor camps. But I was never that interested in the power struggle of those grunt and scabs in the middle. I wanted to stand on the top like an apex predator. Here I am. So when I got tired of a gang, I disbanded and let the other bosses fight over the new recruits. That much amused me, at least. Some of my old mates are still alive and hanging around whatever they ended up.
What do you need to know?
I have thought about your combat abilities.
Do you now? Call me intrigued. You already know that I memorized the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas. I hope I didn't hear you say that, Fatebinder, because the implication is more than either of us is prepared to handle. The Voices of Nerat is a monster. We both know that Taratus has never seen a creature more despicable than him. Never mind that he's kind of my boss.
Think about it, he absorbs the mind
Well,
of their
I don't
victims.
want to fucking think about it. Didn't you consider for a second that the thought had occurred to me already? I've traveled with the chorus for years. I've seen what the voices can do, and it scares me, all right? The idea that everything I am could be reduced to that. If I had that kind of power, if I could become like him, I don't know how I could live with myself. I'd rather drown myself in a camp latrine. I'm sure he had the same idea when he got started. But you know what they say about power? It's usually wielded by assholes. My sisters died. Oh, you should have seen us. We were amazing together. I didn't mean to take away what made them special, but I did it all the same. And let me tell you, it felt terrible. If I lived a century, I might never figure out how to make that happen again. And more importantly, I don't want to.
That's been on my mind for some time and I still don't have an explanation that fits. I have a few ideas, but Scarlet Furies share a lot of link with how we coordinate our dance in the heat of battle. We don't pass messages or anything, but our emotions and intentions sync up without words. She starts worrying one of her knives. After a moment, she sighs and slaps the blade back into its sheath. The one thing I always knew was that I felt this connection more keenly than my sisters did. I could pick up nuances that they missed, and I could feel them from farther away. When my sisters died, I felt each of them getting yanked out of my brain like someone pulling snails from a garden, but some of their slime residue was still there. Does that make any sense? I would take comfort in that. Your sisters live on in you. You should exploit this skill to its fullest potential. Skill, not sure if I'd call it that. There's something parasitic about it, but I take your point. If there is an advantage to this thing I'm experiencing, I'm not above using it against our foes, no matter how you paint it. Some part of my sisters broke off me when they died, and now I'm left to deal with it. Just another day in tears, right? What are your thoughts on the disfavored? A warren of self-entitled children so wound up in delusions of honor they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish they had stayed in the Northern Empire where they belonged, then we could get real work done in the tiers. What do you think of their leader, Graven Ashe? I've seen enough of that high minded braggart to know that he's all duty. Nothing but a charismatic, broad shouldered scarecrow. Ha! He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces, waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you would think he's afraid of battle. You would think that someone more deserving would take Ash's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult of personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he can do no wrong. What about Ash's connection to his troops? Graven Ashe protects his soldiers, keep harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that the disfavored can take a few extra lumps on the battlefield, but that only speaks to their headness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place that much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people. Could that be possible? Stranger than heal battlefield wounds? I don't think so. We're talking about a man who's centuries old and wears glowing armor. You tell me, who would you see take Ash's place? I would rather let the disfavored sort it out among themselves. Graven Ashe is this aging figurehead of what should be constantly changing roles. The right soldier needs to grow a pair and kill the old man. Pick his cane out from under him. Remind the legion that strength looks like. The voices of Nera changes. Is a multifaceted gem, and the Scarlet Chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the voices, any of us would follow them in a heartbeat. I suppose you have better idea how to handle these favored forces? Of course I do. First I'd stop babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript from the local to bolster the front lines, because why waste your elite on the vanguard? Then I'd leave my any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Kairos' campaign anyway, so fuck them. You take away everything that makes them strong. Excellent. You would make them more like a Scarlet Chorus. Would that be so wrong? The chorus is accountable for itself in ways that the disfavored aren't. Our weak die, and the strong fight to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline and discipline any soldier with the audacity to show their teeth. Though they never admit it, the disfavored need the chorus to show them the way. Do you think the disfavored have a chance to succeed in the tiers? Speaking as one of the exceptions, most of the tiersmen are pushovers. The people of Stalwart seem capable enough, though I have my doubts. You might call them the disfavored's best challenge. Even if they succeed, it might be too late to redeem themselves. The chorus have already impacted the conquest more than the disfavored have, or likely ever will. What are your thoughts on the battle strategies? They really they've really got something with the phalanx maneuver, a formation built on holding still, moving forward slowly and hoping that no one slips in the mud. At best, the disfavored are tired of using the same tactic over and over again. At worst, the enemy knows what to expect out of them. Scarlet Furies are dancers. We hear the music of battle and organize ourselves into works of killing art. Every fight is as hot and passionate as the last, with no room for stale routine. What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? The Tearsmen can either fight or submit to Kairos' peace, and only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find another excuse to flay them. They need to understand whether we unify the tears under a shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or Kairos. That's an interesting view of the conquest. Did you fight at any notable battles? It's a pragmatic one anyway. The Scarlet Chorus caught on to the idea at the beginning of the campaign. If no one objects that we are to carve a bloody path for gain and amusement, then by all accounts, that is our purpose. Besides, unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows the disfavored and the chorus to interpret as they will. The Overlord is concerned with results. I'm happy to focus on the details, especially if that means cutting off a farmer's legs while his family watches their land burn. She smiles at a pleasing memory. No shame in taking pleasure in your work. No, no, there isn't, Binder. I suspect that we are going to make something great together. A line of bodies stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. We have gained enough reputation to unlock a new ability. Open the reputation UI by pressing R to see the new ability available to your characters. Most factions have abilities your characters can acquire as you build reputation with them. In order to acquire these abilities, you must build enough favor or wrath with the faction. Reputation abilities are only granted to your character, not to other party members. Did you fight at any notable battles? I spent some times in Azure. Toward the end of the war, Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Karen's orders. You learned a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus Care to Duel?
That would be an understatement, and I thought you'd never ask. Since you're obviously at a huge disadvantage, I'll let you pick our weapon of choice. If you want to risk becoming a pincushion, it's your funeral. But you're right about one thing. This will be fun. You held your own. Call me impressed. Need anything else, or did I tire you out?
Merciless hit precision on targets below 5%. Combo ability party members and skill reverse. Launch verse into the air, allowing her to unleash a series of well-aimed arrows into the target from above. Each of these arrows strikes true and has armor penetration. Nice. Okay.
Just point me in the right direction.
I got it. Right. Right.
Disfavor camp. This fort was constructed shortly after routing rebels along the valley's western edge. The Archon Graven Ashe directs all disfavored efforts from this location. It will take you 2 hours to complete the journey from Edgering Cruise to disfavored camp. Hail Fatebinder, the disfavored scout nods at your approach. Camps on up ahead, don't mind us, just clearing out the rubble. I still don't understand what I've done to offend. I respect that these are now disfavored lands, and I'm happy to give the Legion a proper toll, but she's going on about trading rights. What nonsense is that? I'm not allowed to trade one thing for another. It's not like I'm selling weapons to angry peasants or anything of the sort. You are on disfavored land. These warriors have every right to kill you. You should be more thankful they are even listening to you speak. The Overlord regulates all trade. If you lack the proper permits, your goods are forfeit. But I'm only here to peddle my wares. I mean no harm. The merchant takes a step back, his eyes scanning the soldiers for signs of movement. And if you think I'm a threat to the disfavored camp, then you have seriously overestimated me. Please, now how do I make this right? From the sound of it, I feel like I'm about to be robbed. You are not the only one. I'm being robbed of patience as we speak. We should move on, Fatebinder. Petty disputes are beneath us both. Robbed? No, you fool. You're being granted life after trespassing on our lands, all for the simple price of what's in your cart. Not our fault you don't have your permits in order. I don't write the rules, I just ruthlessly enforce them. Please, the merchant lurches towards you, eyes wide with desperation. Can you do something? Let me see your trade permits. You had best start making very strong argument as to why I should help you. He hasn't got one. Therein lies the problem. Trade permit? Well, how was I mean, to whom would I speak for such a thing? Not to us, and not our problem. Maybe march your butts to Bastard City and plead your case before Tunon, but we'll lighten your burden and relieve you of your wares first. That should make the long trek a bit more. Anything to be argued before Tunon may be argued before me. What's there to discuss? We should kill this mongrel and the warrior pauses, placing her hand in. If the Fatebinder wishes to weigh in on the matter, courtesy demands we listen. The soldier clears her throat, looking you, uh, looking at you expectantly. This is disfavored matter, but I know the agents of the court do so love to throw their judgments around. Well, you could rob me now and have my supplies today. The merchant grabs a flask from his cart. Or you can leave me alive and have fermented honey all year long. I even know uh, a few family recipes for painkillers and healing droughts. Certainly, any army will need those. He uncorks small ceramic vial, and the aroma of cloves and lanolin assaults your nose. Curious. I was just hearing about a supply caravan of reagents going missing. What a coincidence. Your family recipe for wound paste smells just like the Scarlet Fury's own concoction. Where'd you steal this? I don't. The merchant tenses up, his face flushing red. I don't know where you're getting it. I think this steersman needs a little roughing up. No, please, I can explain. How do you know the tearsman is lying? His lips are moving. The soldier nods to her comrades, and with a quick flash of iron, the merchant is glittered. Clean kill. Cleaner than he deserved anyway. I would have done a better job of it, but I don't begrudge you carrying favor with the ironclads. Let's pick through what's useful. If you find anything of merit, report it to the Iron Marshal. And Fate Bander, thanks for making the right call. Every time we show the locals some gram of civility, they spit on our good nature. Let us never fall for that treachery again. 39 subterfuge. God damn it. Slow down a moment. I know we're both eager to watch the Archons bicker over tactics like a pair of magpies, but I need to ask you something first. What's that? The voices of Nerat told me that you've come as a mediator. Considering the source, well, I can't help but feel I'm only hearing half the story. So let's have it out. What's so special about you? Is that all? I can understand why Tunon would worry himself over resources, but we have the riches of the Northern Empire backing this conquest, not to mention the plunder of the Tears. If you say that's the case, I'll go along with it. Why are you so suspicious? It's just a feeling I got. When the Archons are together, the air gets as taut as a bowstring. I can't help but think that no amount of compromise will get them seeing eye to eye. So why invite mediator from Tunon's court? It doesn't add up. Why do you think the Archons are at odds? I've been with the Scarlet Chorus since the early days of the conquest, so I can say it's been building for a few years now. There is an energy about those two, like a pair of storms moving to collide. I heard tell that Graven Ashe and the voices of Nerat shared some bad blood in the Northern Empire, but I don't know any of the particulars. That's absurd. If the Archons cannot put the past behind them, they are unfit to command. Quick to anger, are we? I'm not disagreeing with you, but I would take care where you speak your mind. Someone is always eager to report slander to their favorite Archon. With all the power they yield, those types are not quick to forgive. What else did they told you? Only that I could find you in the Edgering ruins. Truthfully, I could have picked out of a crowd. You're the only one of us who hasn't spent the last few months bathing in the stink of the Matani River. She loves, but there's forced nature to it. The war tent is past the center of camp. One last thing, be careful around these disfavored types. They take their work seriously, and most have suffered too many blows to the head. Okay. The gate guard holds up a warning hand. Go no further. You approach disfavored ground. State your business. I am unskilled guy, fate binder of Tunon. I bring words from Kairos. Words for your commander's ears. Understood. His posture relaxes, his weapon lowering. On behalf of the disfavored, I welcome you to our camp. The Archons are gathering in the war tent. Get straight through the gate.
You got it.
I got it.
Hail to you, guardian of the law. The man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you have a few excess rings weighing you down, best unburden yourself before battle. You know that if the disfavored suffers merchant in their camp, that must be a man selling only the finest provision and armaments. Once, let me see. Hard work and good supplies. When Tunon's men came to my village, all the merchants were given different lists of what they were or weren't permitted to trade. He smiles, hand on hips. Kairos' wisdom, my record must have been a good one, because I was given the right to trade in all manner of goods. Most importantly, arms. Not a lot of merchants can legally sell weapons. It was like that even before Kairos. Let me see your wares. Petibor rubs his hands, eyes alight. Let's see if we can find something you might like. Bronze rings. Supplies. Okay. You can make up an iron class. Sell your items for copper rings or items in the stores and buy items from you. If you sell something, you may see it free. Much higher costs source for item. Okay.
Got it.
Bronze Dao sword. Okay. Glory to the voices of Nerat, projecting his salutation for all to hear. The grinning wood chanter raps his staff against the ground as you approach. Fatebinder, a skilled guy, I presume. He smiled, quickly retreats, giving way to a sour scowl. I am Bitter Quip. I am here as the emissary of the Scarlet Chorus. Bitter Quip looks at you impatiently. Scoffs, looking away from you for a moment before sniffing and returning his attention to you. Reporting to the Iron Hag is an insult. She fought one duel for her title. One, her leadership must be continuously proven, earned, and defended Weakness should bleed to the bottom of the army, not rise to the top. My assignment here is also an insult, but one I will bear for the good of the chorus. Bitter quip sniffs the air, smiling with one side of his mouth. If only to see with my own eyes the failure of the disfavored. That will be a fine day. What can you tell me about the Scarlet Chorus? The chorus is the future of the Tears. I feel only derision and pity for those who fear our inevitable ascension. Peter Grip looks at you with a raised eyebrow. What in particular would you like to know? Tell me about the voices of Nerat. He is Supreme Commander and Public Servant. He who sets us free but directs all. Peter Grip smiles as he talks, his face turning flush. The voices of Nerat is the epitome of what each of us can be, a magician without equal and the leader of uncountable numbers. The voices and the chorus are one, conquering, expanding, growing, changing, always stronger. Peter Grip pounds his staff on the ground. Glory to the voices. How did you come to join the Scarlet Chorus? The doctrine of strength speaks to me, and I answered its call, as did some of my arcane peers. I took to the chorus almost instantly. Unlike most, I cried not for the life of comfort lost to me. My magic invokes fear and terror, and I easily established my dominance over a pack of my early days in the chorus. If you are so curious about it all, Peter Quip smiles, lifting an eyebrow. Perhaps you should visit our camp and see for yourself. What is your role in the chorus? I am a blood chanter. My magic can turn the will of a man and the tide of a battle. I have held command for 3 years now, though being forced to keep an eye on the disfavored is not the reward I had envisioned for my service thus far. Sounds as you really like the voices of Nerat. Peter Quip blinks several times and scowls, saying nothing. That's all for now.
See that?
You have discovered a hidden object. Many areas of Terratus have hidden traps or chests. When discovered, these objects will highlight for all your party to see. Enable scouting mode by pressing L, Alt to make left out finding these hidden objects.
On the lookout.
Scouting mode is used both for stealth and for traps and characters. Okay.
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tearsmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, That leaves the second and fourth cohort trapped outside the valley.
The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with, his profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
The Archon of Secrets passes a scepter between his hands as he speaks, whirling the rod in hypnotic circles. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's ragged red robes. The glow is most noticeable where his neck ought to be. His masks seem to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Verse whispers fearfully as she beholds the Archons. I'm here to proclaim Kairos edicts. The valley was sealed in preparation for this moment.
I always know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. The disfavored commander raises her voice, trying with little success to speak over the Archons. Perhaps we could table this discussion and let our guest speak.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
Balding half-wit. The Archon of Secrets twirls his scepter in a twisting loop, his leather-wrapped hands flipping them.
And I thought you had left agents within these Tearsmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
The Archon of War lurches forward, resting his weight on his war maul as blue luminescence crackles around his armor.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tears, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
The voices of Nera tosses his scepter into the air, catching it. Descendants back down.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tearsmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
The Archon flips his scepter 3 times around, humming gleefully. Hold your tongue. I will not have you denigrate the honor of our fallen brethren. The commander's hand moves to the hilt of her blade, though the weapon stays sheathed. I'd be doing us all a favor if I cracked open that excuse for a head. They bicker like children, do they not? The fifth eye, creating 10 or pieces deep tension in the tent, and all eyes land on the Crimson Spear. I meant only to say welcome to our guest. the Fatebinder. The armored retainer bows with rushed inelegance, then rises to a salute, and not a moment too soon. Ah, why didn't you speak us sooner, my lord Archons? The governor of Latinia's crossing has finally arrived. I beg you to cease arguing for a moment. Apologies for the sudden entrance. I've traveled long to be here.
Ah, the Stormcaller. Conveniently late once more. Our eyes and ears tell us you come bearing an edict. The anticipation is killing us. We were worried you'd never make it. So glad that Drostus's demise didn't cause further delay.
The Archon of Secrets turns his attention to you. The frozen rictus fashioned into his bronze mask greets you with a permanent smile. How did you know about Drostus? I only just came from Edric Ruin. I come bearing an edict of
It
Kairos.
seemed only yesterday you were proving your worth in battle, assisting my warriors in the siege of the bastard city. Now Kairos has chosen you for a second time to proclaim an edict. Tell us, good Fatebinder, what sort of punishment does the Overlord have in store for the Oathbreakers?
The earth sways with each word you utter, the air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the tersely phrased commandment. It's every syllable drafted by the hand of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens and the muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountains, feel renewed. The tired limbs now nearly buoyant with vigor.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Mittani. We lose everything if we stand still. And we move to backup Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time. So we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
The Archon of War taps a finger against his temple. A low rumble escapes from under his beard.
So you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
I second the Fatebinder. Thought you had the memories of one of those Oathbreakers rattling about that bronze gourd of yours. Would Kairos' mighty spy master please enlighten this gathering of allies with some scrap of strategic insight?
The Archon of Secrets turns his head to the side until the face of his mask has turned around and a new face of the mask presents itself as facing forward. When next the Archon speaks, the trembling voice of a younger man can be heard.
Our river was to be the bulwark, but with the Tidecasters slain, what hope remains? It's so cold in here. Help me, please.
The Archon turns his head far to the side until the previous facet of his mask now looks forward.
Our sources tell us the Oathbreakers had some sort of magical trick in store. But this knowledge is tinged with fear, trepidation. If we make a move for the Mitanni, we suspect the Oathbreakers will mount a counterattack that is equal parts valiant and futile. That was Mitanni Yanev, former noble of Apex and one of the leaders of the Vendrian Guard. Back when they were half-respectable enemies that knew how to lose with dignity. When the Guard first surrendered, Yanev presented himself to us. What he knew, we now know.
You've delivered your edict. Do not pretend it gives you the right to give orders to an Archon.
Delivered your edict. Do not pretend it gives you the right to give orders to an Archon. My Lord Barik and his band have been drilled on the Echo Call assault plan. The Crescent Runners should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes, clapping her gauntlet to her breastplate. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the disfavored can take the river, the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunan's chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
I won't let you down, boss. He'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid.
Ah! The voices of Nera, the Archon, twirls his scepter one last time, then taps the fifth eye on the shoulder, and the two depart.
Finally, the fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the voices of Narat is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunan favor him in the end. Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us. You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I'm short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, short a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. I would be honored to help. The Iron Marshal salutes Gravenashi, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds readying the soldiers. Find me there when you are ready. She pauses, clearing her throat. And though I am loath to mention it, the chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the outer valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in that rat's nest they call a camp due east. Seek him out if you must. How did you do that? Back in the Archon's war tent, you cast an edict as casually as reading supply shipment. How did you do that? Well, I've done it before. Don't I look stupid? You were one who cast the Edict of Storms on Stalwart, didn't you? That was me, alright. Well, call me impressed, considering that you've read the words of Kairos more than once. I'm surprised that you were even alive to tell it. Our vocal cords should have turned to ash by now. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. It's just worth recognizing what you've done. Not only are you Tunon's Fatebinder, you are the mouthpiece of the Overlord. Gives me plenty of reason to stick around. You're going places and I want to see where they lead. That's enough for now.
Got it.
Shaker stuff. Broken school.
Right.
Okay. That will be all for today. Thank you for everyone for 8 days to Karos Day of Swords. Oh my god, 8 days. So I guess we are going on a timer. I'll see you all tomorrow with the second part of this Blindthrough. Thank you all for being with me. See you tomorrow after 6 p.m. GMT+2. Until then, have a good night.